I wanted to say a couple of things. My name's Michael Bradley. I'm on the National Steering Committee on Anti-Resistance, and I think one of the big things is about momentum. Right, so at the minute, Sister raised the issue around the bedroom tax, and I think you can feel around the country, towns and cities, as a momentum building. I think one of the really important things about this is we start to pull that fight together now as well. I know in Scotland, in the west of Scotland, there's now an anti-bedroom tax federation been organised. I know in London on the 11th of May, they're trying to pull groups together, and I think that's crucial. But I want to talk about the situation in the unions really, because I think on the 30th of November 2011, we had momentum. We had 2.5 million people out on the streets. We had 500,000 people on that day either picketing or demonstrating. And the problem is, we've now spent a year where we've allowed that momentum to go. Right, so, and we can't afford it, because when you think about the bedroom tax itself, there are two ways to hit the bedroom tax. One is not to pay, the other is not to implement. And the unions could do that. Union branches around the country are already passing motions saying they will refuse to take part in evictions. That knocks onto the councils, it puts pressure on the councils and the rest of it. But in other words, the unions are our shield. And the bit we've got to break down here, right, stuff about it, is obviously it's brilliant in the Far Runners Union and stuff. There's a ballot going on around the general strike stuff. In too many places, there are speeches being made from the top table, but then no follow through. We know that in lots of unions, right, and stuff about it. And I think the thing what we've got to do around the country in meetings like this is we have to start now pulling the activists together. Right, so because we have to start getting a pressure. There's a pressure on our trade union leaders from one side, from the Tories on the one hand, and from Labour as well, don't rock the boat and the rest of it. We have to start building the pressure from our side. We have to start pushing them that we need a fight now, we need a fight. And actually it's brilliant, in the northwest of England, on the 26th of June, you'll have the PCS out, on the 27th of June, you'll have the teachers out. This is all really good, but there's a simple thing here that everybody in this room knows. Why don't we strike together? The one thing we learned from Thatcher, if Thatcher taught us one thing, don't let them take us one at a time. If we allow them to take us one at a time again, right, so, and actually we don't have to relive history, but it does mean we need meetings like this right across the country now. We need to make sure that when you go on strike, you know you are not going to be standing on your own on a picket line. You know that there will be other banners, community campaigners, students and people coming down. We've got to build a movement on our side, because the real thing is, all of us in this room probably agree, right? We'd all like to see the Tories turfed out. None of us are very confident about Ed Miliband, are we, right? None of us believe the world is going to change. And that means we've got to have a situation where our side starts doing some of the things that Steve and other people brought up. What's the most magnificent thing about the miners' strike? The most magnificent thing about the miners' strike is hundreds of thousands of people from across this country took strike action, mass pickets, but also they were supported by every element of the movement. Women's organisations, lesbian and gay groups, students and the rest of it. And we need to build that kind of movement now. But it means we can, it's brilliant. We need the people at the top table, we need the best kind of union leaders and the rest of it, but they need to be pushed by our side. We can't go back to what happened in December 2011. We had these people by the short and curlies over the pension scheme. We could have beat them and we let them go. We weren't beat, that we let them off the hook. And around pay and the other issues, now we've got to put the pressure on our side to start fighting.